fun. Thanks, Mike. So my fun fact is that I am a runner, so I'll go with that one. I actually just went running earlier today, so I'm a runner. I've done a couple half marathons since this quarantine, and it's not much to do. I am toying with the idea of training for a marathon. Don't hold me to it, but I am thinking about training for a marathon since I just started back running. Mike, what's your fun fact?
I have played the viola since 5th grade, and during quarantine, I actually got a new bow for my viola for my birthday, and so I'm hoping to join a local orchestra when we are allowed to do music things again.
Nice. You also got another tuba, or you also have another music person. So Juan plays the tuba, so more music. Keep those comments coming in the chat. Your name, your major, and a fun fact. Oh, nice. So Emmett enjoys theater. Nice. Nice. Albert does a lot of teaching with machine learning and AI. Albert is one of our alumni, so if you're interested in that, you'll have a chance to chat more with him about that. Nice. More music people. Oh, also I got my fellow runners. Thanks. See, I'm not the only crazy person who likes to run, especially in the winter. Swimming. Nice. Betty, you don't know how to bike? Nice. Group fitness. I like it. Keep those coming for everyone who hasn't posted, but thanks for posting those. And so first for our, love to sing. So we have other music folks. So playing instruments, singing, nice. Cool bands. Oh, a lot of music folks. We should like get all your instruments out and like we can do a tune. Like, right, somebody can sing, y'all get the instruments going. Nice. Vegetarian, nice. Alrighty, so we'll get started with our actual like event. Nice cooking. So I'm keeping my eye on the chat. Keep those coming. Those are all good things. And so for the honors program, we have invited you all here today because we think you can be a good fit for the program. And so tonight will be a great opportunity for you to learn more about the program, but also to learn more about from people who are a part of the program and people who have experienced the program, to hear about their experiences and how they think that honors benefited them. And then also about other things they did during their time at Michigan, how they prioritize their time, and about how all these things really help them with their careers and with the things that they're doing now. And so also you'll have the opportunity to hear about the honors program. So I'll talk more in detail about the nuts and bolts of the program, and then also the application process for this semester. And also we have a specialization within the honors program, the Engineering Global Leadership, or EGL. And so that might be of particular interest for any of you who are interested in the business and or global side of engineering. And so we'll talk more about that path as well. And so for our alum, we'll start with a couple of questions and ask them to answer a couple of questions as a larger group, and then we'll move to breakout rooms in smaller groups. You'll be able to talk to the alum and current honor students. And so first, before we move into the panel for our alum, I just want to take the time to thank them for being here this evening. We truly appreciate them taking the time out. And so we'll start with some introductions of the alum, and then we'll ask them to answer a couple of questions. So for our alum, and so I'll call you in order. So please share your name, what things you were involved in at University of Michigan, and what you have been doing since graduation. So Betty, I'll start with you. So name, things you were involved in at Michigan, including honors or EGL, and what have you been doing since graduation?
Okay, I guess I'll start then. Hello everyone, my name is Betty. I just graduated 2020, class of 2020 from mechanical engineering. I was in the engineering honors program, not the EGL one. So some of the things I got involved in at the time when I was in Michigan were entrepreneurship, research, design, and I guess a lot of random things in the dance clubs as well. So I really was having fun in Michigan. I was also on the board of HSAB for like a year during my junior year. So that was some exciting times as well. And right now I am at Stanford pursuing a master's in mechanical engineering. Nice to meet y'all.
Thanks. Emmett, you're up next. Your name, things you're involved in, and what are your future plans?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Emmett. Like I put in the chat earlier, I'm actually not an alumni yet. I'm a fourth year undergrad student studying biomedical engineering, but I'm hoping I can still have some good advice about honors to share with y'all today. Some other things I'm involved in besides honors is, I guess, well, specifically, I'm in the engineering global leadership sort of concentration or focus area of honors. So I'd be happy to talk to anyone who's interested in that. Outside of honors and EGL, I'm also involved in MHEAL, which is a global health design student org, sort of like built with, has a bunch of project teams in it. And I'm also a part of OSTEM, which is a LGBTQ student org for students in STEM. And then also I work at CHEPS, which is a Center for Healthcare Engineering and Patient Safety. And I'm also an Engineering 110 departmental ambassador this year. So that's kind of the main stuff that I'm involved in. And yeah, I'm currently still a student, so I don't have any exciting post-graduation plans yet to share with y'all.
No worries. And also, Emmett is one of our peer advisors in the honors office too. So you'll have the opportunity if you want to stop by peer advising, you can talk to Emmett. Thanks, Emmett. Yusuf, so if you could share your name, things you were involved in at Michigan, and what have you been doing since graduation?
Absolutely. Hey everyone, name is Yusuf Ghani. I am graduated in 2017 with my bachelor's and 2018 with my master's, both in industrial and operations engineering as part of the EGL program that Emmett recently just talked about. When I was on campus, back when I was in school, feels like ages ago at this point, I was involved with research in a microcellular environmental laboratory, Greek life, and in a part of a consulting club, in addition to spending a lot of time with the EGL community. And since graduation, I have been working at McKinsey and Company as a business analyst, and I'm been doing that for about some years at this point, and I'm thinking about business school. So happy to talk about any of those things moving forward.
Nice. Thanks for sharing, Yusuf. Jonathan, so share your name, things you were involved in, and what you've been up to.
Sure. So I'm Jonathan. I studied computer science and math at Michigan, and I was in the honors program. At Michigan, I was involved in like a few orchestras. I did pops. I did the campus symphony orchestra for a bit, and I attended a bunch of various clubs to varying degrees of attendance. I also was involved with honors as part of the HSAB for both my junior and senior year, which I thought was super awesome. And I got to do a lot of cool things through honors as well, like Honors Go. And yeah, that was great. Right now I'm working in New York as a software engineer at Facebook.
Thanks for sharing, Jonathan. And Albert, so name, things you're involved in, and what you've been doing since graduation.
Yeah, so I'm Albert. I graduated in 2015 in IOE. Some things I was involved in as an undergrad was a little bit of everything. It's a big list, but kind of the common thread around the orgs I was involved in, they were mostly first or second year orgs, so like entrepreneurial student organizations. And since graduating, I've been doing a few different things. I worked in corporate for a few years. I did a little bit of freelancing, and now I'm really focused on doing work at the intersection of AI and education, and that includes teaching kids about AI. You're on mute, Ashley.
Ashley, you're muted.
Of course, Zoom. I clicked it. I swear I did, but clearly I didn't. Thanks. So for our panel, thanks, Albert, for sharing. So for our panel, what's one piece of advice you have for Michigan engineering students? So one piece of advice. So we'll start with you, Jonathan.
Okay. Sure. I think that like one of the best things about Michigan is just how broad it is and how many different opportunities you have to pursue. You can really find whatever you want at Michigan. And I thought that the honors program did a really great job of like allowing you to pursue things that were outside your interest or like immediate like major. So I did a philosophy minor, which I thought was super awesome that honors like enabled me to do that. And I think like that's really the one of the best things about honors. You get to meet a lot of people from different majors, and they're also doing really cool stuff on the side, or just like studying other things as well. So definitely take advantage of how excellent Michigan is at so many different things. And if there's anything else that you're like even remotely interested in, take a class or something, or like find a club just to try it out, because the opportunities are literally endless.
Thanks. Emmett, one piece of advice you have for engineering students.
Yeah, no, I think Jonathan's advice was really good, and mine is sort of similar, but a little bit kind of going off of that. I think definitely I would say don't be afraid to pursue things that don't seem like they're immediately connected to your major or what you think should be on your resume or what you think employers want to see. Instead, really use this time in your however long you spend in undergrad to really explore what it is that sort of you're passionate about, as well as sort of being willing to, if something's not working out and you're trying something and you don't think it's for you, not being afraid to sort of switch that and not getting caught up too much in the sunk cost fallacy. But if you're really not enjoying what you're doing, getting out of it and trying something new.
Thanks. Albert, one piece of advice you have for Michigan engineering students.
Yeah. So stay healthy, both physically and mentally. Yeah, I see a lot of nods here because this is just if it's Michigan engineers in general, folks are really ambitious, and sometimes folks will deprioritize their own health. And I'll say that definitely staying healthy is not only important for you to succeed in school, but it's an important skill to have just generally in life, and you should start practicing those while you're a student.
Thanks. And Betty, one piece of advice you have.
Yeah, I guess I'll share something more on the academic side of things. So, like our engineering school is like on the top 10 of the entire world. So I would say definitely make good use of that. Reach out to professors, whether he's or she's within the same major, or if their research interest kind of interests you, definitely reach out to them, because those resources or those connections you might make with the professors and also faculties might carry over like in the long term, and it definitely will pay off. So, and I think the capstone project provided by the Engineering Honors Program will also help you do that, because essentially you will have a faculty advisor and you will be working on something beyond the level of normal academic coursework, and that will like build like a bridge for a good connection with faculties.
Thanks, Betty. And Yusuf, one piece of advice you have.
Sure. So following along the theme that Jonathan and Emmett have set, I would say don't hesitate to try something because of the fear of failure, because one of the worst things that I think looking back I could have done was not try things because I thought it wasn't going to work out or I wasn't going to be successful. The barrier to try and do things is so low while you're still in college. So really try and explore, push yourself outside of the comfort zone, because once you're in the workplace, once you start getting a little bit older, it's really a lot harder to do that. So really enjoy that and make the full use of it during this time.
Thanks for sharing. All good pieces of advice. So next question for our panel before we move to the breakout rooms. What was the most beneficial thing about your honors experience? So the most beneficial thing. And so Yusuf, I'll come back to you to start off.
Sure. Honestly, for me, it was my class of fellow 2018 EGL graduates. I would say that they are some of my best friends from college. And even though we're all across the the United States at this point, we still are in touch regularly. Just that network and that community of other people who are, doing amazing things it's great. It's like the best thing I could have asked for coming out of Michigan.
For sure. Thanks for sharing. And I think you brought up a good point, because when we talk about the honors community, yes, it includes students who are here in the program now, but it also includes our alumni, and they stay connected and they're still a part of the community. And also they come and do things like this. So they're definitely still a part of the community. Thanks. Betty, what was the most beneficial thing about your experience?
Yeah, I guess I would definitely for sure 200% agree that honors will build you a community. And in this fact, I have got to know so many peers and so many people, faculties, or just nice people to stay connected with for a long time. And I guess the one thing I really appreciated was our honors seminar, which is like a series of 3 seminars that will carry through your sophomore to senior year. And I felt like I really built upon my self-awareness and also professional development skills that really benefited me a lot in the long run. Yeah.
Thanks. Albert, what was the most beneficial thing about your honors experience?
Yeah, I'll definitely echo the previous statements about the community being a huge factor. And it's something that continues to benefit me today, just because, to some extent, I'm still trying to explore different things. And through the community, I'm able to learn about folks doing things different than what I'm currently working on.
Thanks. Great. Jonathan, what was the most beneficial thing about your experience?
Yeah, sure. Like definitely agree about the community. I'll go for like a more academic route for this question. Maybe I think like some of the best things about honors were like the academic advisors, like Rachel specifically like helped me a lot with figuring out some requirements and like getting me in touch with the right people to like do some stuff across colleges. And also just like the people in your classes that you like meet during honor seminar are great contacts for other classes that you may be taking. Like, yeah, I found project partners or like people that I could work with through honors. And that was a huge part of me being successful at Michigan.
Thanks. And last but not least, Emmett.
Yeah, so I'll agree with what everyone was saying about sort of the community and just add that I think I was surprised by how easy it can be to really only stick with people within your own major once you start getting higher up in your classes and you're taking mostly just classes within your own major. So I was really, really grateful for the honors community where there's people from all sorts of different engineering majors who I could still be friends with and interact with and talk with in honor seminar or just hanging out at events and things like that, and be able to sort of get out of my own bubble a little bit and think a little bit in a broader engineering context. Which was really cool. And then I'll also say, I think while I'm still in the process of it, the capstone project for EGL is going to be something that I think I'm going to get a lot out of. I'm taking the classes for that right now. And I don't think I would have taken those classes if it wasn't for the EGL path. So just getting that different perspective is really helpful and is going to open up a lot of opportunities for me, I think.
Great, thanks. Thanks to our panel for sharing their experiences. So now we'll move into breakout rooms in smaller groups. And so it'll be time for you, any of the prospective students, if you have particular questions to ask for the alum and for current students in the program about their experiences. Also, they can tell you more about things that they're up to. So now we'll move to breakout rooms. And so you should be getting the alert to go to a breakout room. And so you'll have about 20 minutes and 25 minutes in those rooms. Go through it. Thanks, Mike. And so we're just recording for folks who couldn't make it here this evening. But hope you had a good time in your breakout rooms chatting with the current students and the alum of the program. And so now I want to talk more about the nuts and bolts of the program and a part of it of picturing yourself as a part of the program. So for honors, there are some key elements. And so I'll go through each one of those elements. So for the honors program, students maintain a 3.6 GPA. And so that's a cumulative GPA. Students who are around a 3.6 are encouraged to apply. So it's not like a hard and firm cutoff. So we definitely encourage students to apply. And also all of you here tonight, we definitely encourage you to apply this semester. And so a part of the honors program in general is really helping students to choose their own adventure academically, socially, to get engaged and really choose the things that you want to get involved in and to help build your time at Michigan related to your interests. And so a part of that, the way that we help students do that academically is that all students a part of honors complete a minor. And so there are over 100 minors offered at University of Michigan. And so we have a variety of minors that students in honors complete. And so like Jonathan mentioned philosophy, we have some people who do entrepreneurship. We also have people who do music minors or Spanish. So it really depends on what you're interested in. And there's no one particular minor that is more highly looked at than another. It's really, we want you to pursue something that you're really interested in and want to learn more about. Also part of the honors program, students complete a focus area. And so our focus areas are research, public service, design, entrepreneurship, and business and global operations. And so the focus area, it goes directly with the capstone project. And so I'll come back and talk about that in just one second. Also a part of helping to develop you with your career are the honor seminars. So earlier the alumni mentioned those. So those are 1 credit elective courses. There are 3 of those. And they are taught by the honors staff. So I teach a seminar, Mike teaches one along with the other staff in our office. And these are unlike some of your other engineering courses. They aren't completing problem sets or anything like that. It's really meant to help you think about like who you are and where you're headed. And so students in honors seminar really say they appreciate the seminars because it helps them think about like the bigger picture, which we don't always think about on our day-to-day. Like you're going to class or you have homework or you're working on things, but honors seminar really gives you the opportunity to step back and think about like the why you're doing the things you're doing and to look at the bigger picture. So a part of honors, a big mechanism that we have in the program is that students complete a capstone project. And so the focus area goes with the capstone project. And so the focus area students take courses related to their capstone project to give them skills that they need. And so it's not necessarily additional credits on top of your workload, because if you're already taking courses that will give you skills for your capstone project, those can count for your focus area. Also for your capstone project, students do a variety of things based on the things they're interested in. So they do some really cool things, creating apps. So a couple years ago, a student created an app for career fair for their capstone project because they didn't want to wait in those long lines, even though we didn't have a long line this year, but typically when it's in person, it's a long line. So it's a variety of things that folks can do with their capstone project, and it's really tailored for each individual person. And so a part of the students who complete the honors program, they complete the program and they get a notation on their diploma and their degree that says with honors. And so that gives people some indication of what like that means if people read with honors. But we think the accumulation of these experiences and being a part of the community is really what's most important, and be able to explain that and describe that to folks when you move forward, applying to grad school, starting a company, or if you're going to work in the industry, that's super important. So to be able to describe these experiences. Next slide, please, Mike. And so also I'll talk more about the Engineering Global Leadership Specialization, so EGL. And so this is the path in honors that is for students who are interested in the business and or international side of engineering. And so it's some key differences with EGL and honors, and so I'll just highlight those. And so as a part of EGL, students maintain a 3.6 GPA. A part of EGL that is different from honors is that students complete, in addition to their bachelor's degree, they stay on for a 5th year and complete their master's degree in engineering. And so for honors, that's not a requirement, even though we have about half of our students who graduate with honors do continue on to a master's degree. But for EGL, that's already built into the program. Also, they have the global education that is a part of the EGL specialization to get that international experience. And I'll talk more about that on the next slide. Next slide, please, Mike. And so for the Engineering Global Leadership specialization, students complete the international minor for engineers. And so for honors, students can complete any of the over 100 minors offered at Michigan. But for EGL, students complete the international minor just to get that exposure to the international side of engineering. And so a part of the minor is a 6-week abroad experience. And so we recognize right now, and we are in talks with the International Programs Office about how students can complete that requirement. So if you're interested in the EGL specialization and or the international minor, don't let the 6-week abroad experience scare you away, because we're well aware of that and are working, and IP is working hard on finding an alternative for students given the current situation. Also, a part of the international minor, students complete a course called Engineering Across Cultures that is offered just to get that international exposure. Also, for EGL, they have a lot of cultural events, so dinners, performances, and different things just to get that exposure to other cultures. Next slide, please, Mike. So also a part of the international, or a part of the EGL specialization, is the business acumen. So to get the exposure to the business side, students complete undergraduate courses, so 9 credits of elective courses during their undergrad time through the Ross School of Business, and then also during their master's year, they complete MBA level courses as well. And so here are just some of the topics that students take courses in: supply chain management, organizational change. Those are just some of the things that students take courses in. So that's a great way that we help students to get that exposure to the business side of engineering. Next slide, please, Mike. And so also, before I talk more about the honors community, so some other elements of the EGL specialization is that for that specialization, so different from the honors program, students in EGL, they complete a industry team-based project as their capstone project. So for EGL, during the summer between finishing undergrad and before they start their master's degree, they go and complete what's called a Tauber project. And so they work at different companies. So they've worked at Pepsi, Amazon, Boeing, Disney. They worked at some really great companies, and they end up saving these companies a lot of money for working on these projects. So they do some very impactful things with those Tauber projects through the EGL specialization. And so also when thinking about, we've talked a lot about the honors community. So when thinking about the community, I talked about like some of the academic things and nuts and bolts, but we like to have fun. And so we have community events. So right now we have the outdoor/wellness challenge going on, encouraging people to take care of themselves and also get outdoors. With the quarantine and everything going on, it is definitely possible to stay in your house for days and days on end. So we want to encourage people to get outside. I know I am guilty of staying in the house a lot. So just trying to get out more. Also, we have a buddy program that we have going on right now for the honors community that'll continue throughout the semester and throughout the year. So that's a great way just for folks to have someone they can connect with, someone to be accountable with, also someone they could just chat with, or they can get together and do things together with, social distancing and safely, but someone you can get together with. They've also had virtual game nights, resume editing, study groups. So they do a lot of great things to help bond, to help the community and make those engagements. Next slide, please, Mike. And so we really, we're talking about the elements of the program. We really want you to picture yourself as a part of the program and a part of the community. And so when thinking about applying to honors, I'll go into some more information about the application, and we really hope you consider applying this semester. Next slide, please, Mike. So next steps when thinking about applying. So you've attended the one check, you attended the Honors Alumni webinar. And so we'll also have time at the end for you to ask any questions. And then I'll talk more about starting the application online and the different elements of the application. And so it's due in about 4 or about 3.5 weeks for now, which is October 16th. And so I'll talk more in detail about some of the elements of the application. Next slide, please, Mike. And so a part of the application is general information, student information, your name, address, major, GPA, all of that type of stuff. And then also a part of the application is completing a resume. Also, there are a couple short answer questions, so less than 250 words. What advice would you give to a first-year student? And then why do you want to join honors? And then also when thinking about that course plan for your minor, and so just thinking about what courses you plan to take and when you plan to complete those. And so for your minor, when you are submitting the application or working on the application, we want you to have thought about what you plan to take, and also don't feel like it's binding at the same time, because we understand plans change. And so it's just really meant to be the show that you thought about what you want to minor in and how you plan to complete it. And so like, even if you think like, oh, I'm going to do the math minor, but later decide, oh, I really want to do the Spanish minor, that's completely okay. In case you have to change minors, that's completely fine. And so even if you have to change the courses you plan to complete for it, it's really good in thinking about having that rough sketch. Also, there are a couple recommendation forms as well. So they're recommendation forms and not recommendation letters that are required as a part of the application. Next slide, please, Mike. And so for your recommendations, so I strongly encourage you to emphasize that it's a recommendation form and not a letter. For faculty especially, if they think it takes a long time, they're less likely to agree to do it. So it's a short multiple choice form that they answer questions about you. And so it's a spot for them to leave comments if they want, but it's a short multiple choice form. And so there are 2 recommendations for the honors application. One must be from a University of Michigan faculty or lecturer. Unfortunately, that recommendation can't be a GSI, but anyone who holds a professorship at Michigan would be a great person to ask for a recommendation, a faculty recommendation. And so commonly students ask their Engineering 100 or 101 or Engineering 110 professors. Also is not limited to professors in engineering. And so it can be a faculty member in any college. And we don't give preference to like, oh, this person used someone in engineering and this person didn't. We don't look at it that way, just as long as you have a professor at University of Michigan. And then for the second recommendation, it can be from anyone short of a friend or family member who knows you well. So an academic advisor, a mentor, a coach, a former supervisor, someone you do research with, those can be, or a GSI, those could be good folks for a second recommendation. And so it's important when thinking about those recommendations to ask folks, explain what you're applying for. Also, you might want to include like your resume. Here are some of the things I think and why I think I'm a good fit for this program, so that they can understand why you're applying to this program and just have a better grasp of it. Next slide, please, Mike. And so you can submit your recommendations or send the request for your recommendations before you complete your honors application. And so the way that you do that is to enter their information. Like you can click through after you start the application and get to the recommendation sections and enter their information. Next slide, please, Mike. And then after you enter their information, you scroll down to the bottom and then you'll click the next button. Next slide, please, Mike. And then you'll click OK. And so then it'll show you like the email address, who the recommendations are going to. And so they can already start working on the recommendations before you complete your portion of the application. So we strongly encourage for you to do that if you're interested in applying, just to give your recommendations, your recommenders, as much time as possible to apply or to complete that recommendation for you. Next slide, please, Mike. And so here's our contact information. So I definitely know how to find you. You also should know how to find me from all my emails. So if you have any questions, feel free to post those in the chat. Also, we have virtual walk-in peer advising. And so you can go to the link that's at the bottom of this slide. Also, you can find that on our website and in emails that I've sent to you. Also, you can email me too if you have questions or want to set up a time to meet as well. So what questions can we answer for you? Also, feel free to post them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you have questions.
I have a question. So
Sure.
what would you say is the biggest struggle that engineering students face as they come into the honors program? Is it the GPA requirement or the extra classes, or just kind of balancing everything?
I don't think that students have any of those struggles when they enter the honors program, because for the honors program, it's not meant to be a burden. It's not meant to be something that overwhelms you or adds stress to your plate. Especially when students enter honors, the workload is manageable. So during the first semester when students join honors, the only requirement, students meet with an honors academic advisor during their first semester. So anytime over the first semester in the program. And then also students typically take honors seminar 1, so that 1 credit elective course. And if it doesn't work in your schedule, students will defer and take that during their second semester in the program. And so students optionally have the opportunity to participate in some of those community activities that I mentioned. But at the beginning, like, the workload is very manageable. And also we don't want it to be overwhelming. So that's why we have our academic advisors to sit down and like look at your schedule, see what you're planning to do, and figure out what's the best way to do it. And Mike, I saw you unmuted.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't call this like a struggle, like Ashley said. I think that's a great question. I would say that kind of the paradox of choice can sometimes be a barrier, right? So honors is an additional thing on top of many, 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 many things the University of Michigan has to offer you as a student. So there are minors and there are labs you can work in and there's research you can do, and you can do design teams, you can be an orchestra, you know, you can do all kinds of things while you're here. It's one of the perks, but it sometimes causes a lot of like diving head into 8 million things. And so sometimes students, especially honor students, want to get involved in tons and tons of things. And so they have to find the places where they maybe need to cut back. And sometimes that is honors that they cut back on, and sometimes it's other, you know, things that they're involved in. And then I would say the other thing is, like, if these elements of our program sound exciting to you, then it will work into your schedule and we can work with you to make that happen. I would say one of the top reasons that students choose to withdraw after they've been in our program is because they're no longer interested in an element of the program. They hadn't really considered it before. And that's okay. You can start it and be like, maybe this is for me, maybe not. We would love for you to get a year out of it and then say like, that's okay, this actually wasn't for me. That's totally fine too. But I would just say that the top things that I've seen from students are there's 8 million other things, and that honors didn't really make the cut for them when they have to cut something. And the other is that maybe the elements of the program aren't as exciting as they first thought it was a good match, and maybe it wasn't a good match anymore. But for those students, I still say try it out and give us a year, and that's totally fine if it doesn't work for you.
Great question. What other questions can we answer? And also questions for us about the program, any additional questions for the alum as well. Any questions, any other questions? So I'll ask the alum one question. So I'm asking you to jog your memory. So back when you were applying to honors, like, what was the one thing or like a fear or hesitation that you had about honors? That might be helpful for them because you eventually did it. So like, if you had any fears or hesitations before applying to honors.
I can start with this, so because I do remember. So at the time when I was applying, there was an interview as part of the application. I don't think that's part of this anymore, but at the time, I had an interview, and since I was young and very inexperienced in interviews, I was really scared of doing interviews. So that was something I definitely, I felt a lot of anxiety about. And then after I went through it, it wasn't bad at all. So definitely the folks at honors are very pleasant.
Thanks.
Yeah, I totally agree that the honors interview was not intense at all. It was more like a getting to know you kind of interview, and then figuring out if you're a fit for honors. So definitely don't feel too stressed out about that. And then I think one of my major anxiety when I was applying was actually talking to one of my professors at that point to get like a recommendation letter for honors program. And I felt it was like pretty stressed. I was pretty stressed about that because I was like, am I good enough to actually ask the professor to provide me a recommendation letter? But he was very nice and approachable. And I feel like if you just ask, people normally say yes. Yeah, so definitely have the courage to do that.
Yeah, That's like all the same for me. I think like the recommendation form was definitely, it was a little like, I don't know, I'd never done that before, but it was pretty much nothing to fill out. So they were all happy to do it.
Thanks for sharing, Alum. And I just want to elaborate on Sadie's question about if your GPA drops below a 3.6 for the semester. So no, so honors is meant to be very supportive. So it's not like, oh, you're kicked out, you're banished from the program. Nope, not at all. So we just meet with you like an advisor in the honors program to say like, hey, like to check in about your semester, to see how things went. Maybe it was like, oh, you dealt with a hardship, or this class was just really hard that really affected your GPA, but we then like figure out how we can best support you. And so overall with honors, we want to be supportive. And so having students leave the program is not supportive. So if any students drop below a 3.6, we just want to make sure we're providing you the support you need, putting you in touch with resources. So that's what happens if a student does drop below a 3.6. Great. Any last questions? Okay, great. So thank you all for being here tonight. So I hope you enjoyed. And so I'll send some follow-up information tomorrow about like with some of the information I mentioned about like completing a minor, like the minors offer and all that with the application link as well. And so take care and have a good evening. Alum, if you could stay around just for a second. But thank you all for being here tonight. Take care.